Hello everyone, welcome back to Grounded Roots Healing. My name is Jason and I'm a spiritual teacher as well as many other things, and I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about today. So in my last video I talked about the 144 and as I expected got zero traction with that video. And as with some of the other videos where I talk about that type of subject, and I've noticed that other people who talk about these subjects are getting very, very heavy, we would call a shadow banning, I guess. They're not getting much traction. I've even heard like some bigger of YouTube channels in the spiritual space complaining about how little views they're getting on these subjects when they were getting lots of views before. So that brings me to the subject of I'm just looking at 144 on my clock here as I say this. Anyway, this brings me to the other team, the dark side, and their control of this system that we're lodged in, and how tenuous that grip is getting. They're getting desperate and they're trying anything. Now, I'm not saying that my channel with 132 followers is of any significance in this fight, you will call it, but I am noticing that the type of content that I'm producing has a very big effect on how much traction I get. And it's noticeable, like very noticeable. The percentage is irrelevant. I guess if I had a bigger group to pick from, it would be even more obvious. But, like I said, people with big channels are having the same issue. So what are they up to, It's getting, like I said, it's getting tenuous. The grip is loosening. And it's also just part of the game. So I had a conversation with my wife Amanda today. I like to look at this stuff from that perspective, from the not an us versus them perspective, but let's say the fourth frequential, or whatever otherwise be called the 4D. So what most of the vernacular in this space, they use 3-dimension, 4-dimension, and they speak of the 5th dimension as where this new earth, where we will be in the new earth. And the other team plays from the 4th dimension into the 3rd dimension. That's the concept. Now, the other concept is that the planet will be ascending on itself, by itself. So as I spoke of Atlantis in yesterday's video, they were actually, became gods on Earth essentially. But they were gods on an Earth that was in the 3rd dimension, which is actually the 3rd frequency. Third frequential level, let's say. And we are still on a 3-dimensional Earth, but when this shift happens, we're going to switch into a 5D. Well, that requires us to go through 4D, and I believe we're getting close to that right now. The 4th frequential level. And the things that you can do when you know the kind of things that they knew in Atlantis, but the planet itself is raising its vibration. What can we do then? And that is where things get very exciting. It's unfathomable, to be honest. there are several books out there, and Dolores Cannon has some of the information on this. And there's one that I read, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but it talks about, it's a channeled message, and it's one of the possible outcomes that this planet could move towards. And why do I say that? Because it's a choice matrix. This is why it's very difficult for clairvoyants to get this 100% correct, because it's a choice matrix. What you have are probabilities. It's the best you can ever do. And the farther out you look, the more variability there is, and the more points there are between you and that outcome. So you can make more turns at each choice point, which means the end result can be slightly different. And the closer you get to that, the more accurate you get. So I am clairvoyant, but in order for me and the way my mind conceives of these things, I need to pay very close attention to what's going on in the world. I need to pay close attention and see through the BS. And then what I do is I raise my consciousness up into the astral. I get access to the Akashic records, and then I can see the possible outcomes, and I can write them down on a piece of paper. But I don't do that much anymore. That sounds pretty crazy. When I first learned that I could do this, I was doing it incessantly. I was writing constantly, like, wow, oh, okay, this could happen, and this could happen. And I have like a whole notebook in my writing desk with lots of predictions, and some of them have come true already. And I know a lot of things that will likely happen, but the more I realize this is that they may not. Some of these may shift a little bit. You know, everybody else is also making choice points on this path, and it's not only my choice that gets us to this end goal. So what's my point with this? It gets really complicated, and it gets really difficult. But there is no future that I've seen that is a bad one. So we've reached a point now where they will lose control of this system. Now, this other team is operating, like I said, from the 4th D. Well, our higher selves are much higher than that. They're much more powerful. They are powerful in comparison to the human intellect. But in comparison to our higher selves, it's a joke. They're more like parasites than anything to be concerned about. So this game has already played itself out, yet they are still in control for now. So they're trying a lot of things. And, you know, like I was going to say, I had a conversation with Amanda about how she likes to think about this stuff. So she doesn't like to look at any of this. It's not that she doesn't believe that this is the way it works. She may not agree with some of the stuff I agree with, or I think, which is fine. But she doesn't like to look at it because there's nothing she can do. And her brain, it would cause her to come out of the moment and cause her to get drawn into this game, this level of the game. And I think there are beings here, myself included, that are supposed to be able to look at this. I have an exceptionally good ability to see through the bullshit. And I can see through all of this garbage that they're throwing at us. I know exactly what they're up to, and they can't hide anything from me anymore. But she likes to look at it as there is no they, and she's right. It's as if she wants to look at it from the highest levels of the astral, which she's right. At the highest levels, there is no separation. There is no us and them. There is none of this. Yet, down here, we have to live with this. This is the way it works. So I'm trying to find the fine line where you're just involved enough where you can make, educated movements and actions based on what's happening. And if you don't look at it, how do you know what's going to happen? So we're weighing it, and there's definitely something to be said to just completely ignore all of this stuff and just stay in the moment and only ever make a decision from your intuition, and I think you would be just fine. But I do think that as we've been put here, we've put ourselves here in this game, that for this game to work out in the best possible way, let's say, for the highest timeline is another way to look at it, you need to fulfill the archetypal role that you came here to fulfill. And I feel that my role is in that way, to understand how this works, 3D, 4D, 5D, upwards. Maybe some people it's not. Maybe it's in their best interest to just be healers and to not worry about any of the big picture stuff. And I suspect that is the case. There's some people that just spread light by walking down the street. There's a lot of people that they're like this. And they're just doing just as much as anyone else. They are healing people. You don't know what kind of effect you have. You may just smile at a stranger, and your energy is so much higher that it triggers something in them, and it causes a reaction that is way out of proportion for that smile that you gave that person, or a kind word, or you've tipped someone excessively, and this type of thing can have a way bigger effect than you think it can. So, I'm not sure what this video is about. I'm just going to start rambling like this, I think. I was going to talk about money, but maybe I'll do another video here. And we'll just leave it there. But so what is this video about? It's about them losing control. They're on their way out, and they're going to get desperate. And it's our duty in our best interest to not get drawn into this, to just go on with our lives and stay in the moment and stay in the now. And if you can't look at this stuff objectively as if it is a game, then maybe it's in your best interest not to look at it at all, and to go out and be that light in the world that is so important. I think this is my path, but I don't think it's everyone's, and there are many times where I find myself getting drawn into it too. Now that's less and less. So I think that's where we'll leave it. I had an interesting encounter. Maybe I'll describe that as well. So the last video, they gave me a call immediately after. The next thing I read, just started getting calls from various political parties the next day after that I posted that video. Now, you can call this a coincidence if you'd like. I know it's not. This also happened after I made the video about exposing my abuser in one of the videos. Well, someone from that family showed up at my door the next day. So I had to... Now, what is this? Is that you can look at it at a million different levels, but at the highest level, it's the universe testing you. And that is probably the least paranoid sounding way for this to be described. You could describe it as a negative energy being sending someone to your front door. Not negative, sorry. Low vibrational energy being sending someone to your front door. And this is how people end up in padded rooms. This is what happens. You You see the bullshit from a certain level, and then you go screaming it from the rooftops, and people put you away. This is what's happened in the past. Now, there's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that are going to be going through this realization here very soon. Over the next year, it's going to get kind of crazy. Very busy for us spiritual folk. And that's a prediction. Take it to the bank. But I think a better way to look at it is the way Amanda looks at it. And it's that it's the universe. Because if the universe created everything, it created all of these challenges as well. And it put this person in front of me too. So I entered the phone to one of these political parties. It didn't flag as a political party on the thing, of course, so that I would answer. And I answered, and I never answer the phone unless I know who's calling. But I answered it. And he started in right away about talking about supporting a particular party because the blue flavor was a much better party than the red flavored party here in Canada. And I told him I wasn't going to vote at all. And that I think that the system is 100% completely broken. And that it needs to be completely revamped, and that it's too late. We can't dig ourselves out of this financial hole like he was saying we could. It would take us centuries to pay this stuff off. To who do we owe this money to as a country that none of us agreed to borrow and use in the first place? And it's not like we have stellar things around us by borrowing all this money. So you can see why that is. It's a trap. That whole system is just designed to keep us down, of course. And this person was either ignorant to this, or he was sent to call me, or it's directly from the universe. All of those are true, depending on which level you're playing in this game, or if you're outside the game. If you're outside the game, that's the universe. It's the universe testing you and calling you, and the person doesn't actually even exist, maybe. But depends which level you look at it. So I guess that's what we're talking about today is levels of this game and where you're at in it, and how to avoid getting drawn in. So I got a little drawn in with him, but in the end I realized, we had a little discussion about it just being anarchy if we didn't have these political parties to govern us, And I said, I don't think that's how it would go, and I don't support the system, and it just needs to go, period. So don't call me for any more money, please. I need it to feed my family because you've put us in such a tight financial position in the first place that it's ridiculous. So I ain't playing. And I suggest none of you play this game as well. If anybody actually sees this video, because, man, my videos are really tanking lately. And that's okay. Whoever's testing me by making me make videos that no one's watching, it's not going to work. I'll just keep going. And eventually this will get traction, and eventually whatever tests the universe is sending my way will let up, or if you're looking at it at a lower level, the person in charge of blocking this stuff from spreading on the internet on this particular platform will be removed, and stuff will continue to move, will start to move. I prefer to look at it from the higher level. Oh wow, there goes a fox. Too cool. All right, so I'll take that as a good omen. As I always say, I hope this video finds you well. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.